So last night, Panyaza Lesufi, the Premier of Gauteng, announced his cabinet. So these are the members of the Executive Council in Gauteng. And to be clear, this is a minority government. And when I say this is a minority government, Panyaza Lesufi and his cabinet do not have enough numbers to pass anything in Gauteng as things stand. But we will get to the numbers right now. Let's see who was actually deployed in Gauteng. First here we have the man himself, Panyaza Lesufi. He's the Premier of Gauteng. He comes from the ANC, and over here we have Lebogang Maile, the MEC for Treasury. He comes from the ANC. Here we have Matume Chilwane, the MEC for Education. He comes from the ANC. And here we have Ubabu Bonginkosi Dlamini, the MEC for e-government. He comes from IFP. Over here we have Nomantunko Moralehoko, MEC for Health. She comes from the ANC. And over here we have Kidiboni Diale Tlabela, the MEC for Road and Transport. She comes from the ANC. Here we have Mrs. Sheila Mary Peters, MEC for Environment. She comes from Patriotic Alliance. And over here you have Vuyiswa Ramokgopa, the MEC for Agriculture and Rural Development. She comes from Rise Mzansi. And over here you have Tasneem Mutara, the MEC for Human Settlements. She comes from the ANC. And here you have Faith Bazibuko, the MEC of Social Development. She comes from the ANC. And last but not least, you have Jacob Mamabolo, the MEC of Cogta, and he also comes from the ANC. So let's look at how many people ANC actually got in this cabinet. So besides the Premier, we have Lebogang Maile 1, we have Matome 2, we have Nomantu 3, we have Kidiboni 4, we have Tasneem 5, we have Faith 6, we have Jacob Mamabolo 7. So ANC got 7 MECs and the Premier. So if you were someone looking from the outside, you would actually think that the ANC won the province with an outright majority, because it makes no sense why these people have so many MECs, whereas they only got 34%. But however, this is still a minority government, because if you take the 28 seats of the ANC, you add 2 seats of Patriotic Alliance, is 30. You add 1 seat of Rise Mzansi, is 31. You add another seat of IFP, is 32. So in Gauteng legislature, you have 80 members. So you need 41 to actually pass. You need 41 to actually govern the country, to govern the province effectively. So right now, ANC has 32 seats. So if they want to pass something, they will have to go to other political parties to try to borrow their votes. So I don't think that Panyaza Lesufi actually has an appetite to do that, because some people are starting to come up with the conspiracy theories. You know how we are in politics. People are saying that the EFF and MK party, for some reason, they have assured Panyaza Lesufi that they will vote for him if he needs to pass anything. This is what people are saying, that EFF and MK party are actually going to thank Panyaza Lesufi by voting for him, because Panyaza Lesufi, for some reason, he has managed to kick out the DA out of the members of the Executive Council. So the question I ask is, for how long? For how long? How long is it going to take before Panyaza Lesufi actually pisses off the EFF and Umkhonto? How long is it going to take before these two political parties are actually fed up with Panyaza Lesufi? So Panyaza Lesufi himself, he knows that this proportion does not represent the will of the people of Gauteng, because ANC did not win with an outright majority. ANC only got 32%. So there is no need for them to actually keep 7 MECs plus the premiers. There is absolutely no need for them to do that. So last night, Panyaza Lesufi, before he actually did the press conference about announcing the members of the Executive Council, you remember this is what Panyaza Lesufi said.
The DA said, we are going to vote for the ANC on condition you agree to this document. And I want to read this document, because it is this document that led to where we are today. And the document says, the composition of the Gauteng Executive Council, the Premier will come from the ANC, and the allocation of MECs is as follows. 7 MECs will be allocated to the ANC and other parties, and 3 MECs will be allocated to the DA.
So that's it.
Will be allocated to the ANC and other. The ANC and the allocation of MECs is as follows. 7 MECs will be allocated to the ANC and other parties, and 3 MECs will be allocated to the DA.
So if you look at the cabinet, you can see that the 3 political parties that are coming from outside, they have already gotten their spot. You see Patriotic Alliance, IFP, and Rise Mzansi. These people have already gotten their spots. So ANC, as things stand, they have 7 MECs. So according to Panyaza Lesufi, the deal is still open. The deal is still open because it's 10 MECs. If you take these 3 MECs, put them on the side, ANC has 7 MECs. So if out of these 7 MECs, ANC sacrifices 3 MECs and gives them to the DA, ANC will have 4 MECs, ANC will have 3, and other political parties will have the rest of the 3. So it will be a proper provincial or of the government of national unity. I don't know what they call it. It will be a proper provincial of government of national unity. So Panyaza Lesufi, one thing that he understands is that he is not safe as a premier. He knows that if a motion of no confidence is actually tabled, chances are he's going to get kicked out. This is despite EFF and MK Party allegedly assuring Panyaza Lesufi that you're going to be safe, do not worry, we're going to vote with you, we're going to protect you. Panyaza Lesufi, as a premier, he also understands that, man, I am not safe here. And I don't think that Panyaza Lesufi has an appetite to actually go and beg other political parties whenever he needs to pass something. As the premier, they don't have enough seats. His cabinet only has 32 seats. And in Gauteng legislature, you have 80 members, you need 41. So for anything to pass, Panyaza Lesufi will have to go back and beg other political parties. And I don't think this is something that Panyaza Lesufi has an appetite for. So recently, Panyaza Lesufi did an interview on Newsroom, and he said that, man, the DA, the door is still open. We know that we were actually fighting at some point, but the door is still open. If the DA wants to come back and negotiate, the door is still open.
Run up to the announcement of this provincial cabinet is the issue of the numbers, right? You say that it's a difficult thing to set up a representative government when 1 million voters in Gauteng wanted to see the Democratic Alliance in that very government. I mean, is that something that you consider? What do you say to the 1 million voters in Gauteng that wanted to see the DA in that government?
And the DA is accommodated. We didn't, if we outrightly said we don't want the DA at all costs, I think your statement will hold water. We differed at the province, and we felt that those that crafted the statement of intent nationally must meet and guide us. So we wanted the team at National to assist us, and we went to National. Both the national leadership of the DA came and the national leadership of the ANC came. Even at that level, there was a deadlock. And it's a deadlock on something that was very unfortunate, just to say that the DA feels that what was given to them was not good enough, whereas it's something that they presented to us. I was elected a premier on the basis of a document that was produced by the DA to say, hey, we want you to be premier, we want to be a deputy speaker, and we also want somebody from the ANC to be a speaker, on condition to give us 3 MEC positions, and then we will provide 7 positions for the ANC and other political parties. And that's exactly what we did. The only problem became after they presented that document to us, and after we have elected the premier, the speaker, and the deputy speaker, they came to say they're withdrawing the document. And that created, obviously, the situation that we're in. But we've crossed the river. Our view is that the door is not closed. Because we've got a special relationship with the DA at national level. We really believe that we will continue to have those particular discussions, but we can't hold government at ransom We can't have government not functioning. We can't have people at hospitals not getting medication. We can't have doctors not being paid. We can't have teachers not being paid, because that's where it was going. And that was going to be catastrophic. So we've established government with political parties that have signed the Government of National Unity, with Patriotic Alliance, the IFP, Rise Mzansi, and DA. They still have a speaker, a deputy speaker in the legislature. There's no intention to remove her. If the DA remove her, that will be unfortunate. So that everyone should be part of this government.
Well,
So, guys, I don't know if the rumors are true or what, but word on the street is that the deputy speaker of the DA has actually resigned. I have not confirmed, but this is what people are saying, that the deputy speaker of the DA has actually resigned. So what should the DA do at this point? What should the DA do at this point? Must the DA go back and actually take the 3 MECs and give ANC 4 MECs, and other political parties can occupy those 3 posts? What should the DA do? What should the DA do? Because if they pull out, I can tell you now that Lesufi is going to have a tough time. Lesufi is going to have a tough time as the Premier of Gauteng. And it's going to be very hard for him to govern. So I think this is, again, the reason why he said that, man, the door is still open. We have 7 MECs by ourselves. So if we have to go back to the table and say that, guys, let's forfeit 3 MECs and actually give these MECs to the DA, and we can keep 4 and other political parties can keep 3, the government can actually function. And we know that we will have a majority, and we can actually pass the laws without us actually going to other political parties to beg whenever we need to pass something. So I guess right now the ball is in the DA's court. Because the man says that the door is still open. So I think if the DA decides to come back and say, okay, let's go back to the negotiations, the other debate is going to come when it comes to which MEC positions should actually be allocated to the ANC and which MEC positions should actually be allocated to the DA. I think this is what they're actually going to debate about. If the DA finally decides that, okay, let's go back to the negotiating room, we want these MECs, we want these positions, and the ANC says, no, we cannot give you these positions because, or we want these positions, and the ANC says that, but man, we have already given those positions to Rise Mzansi, we have already given those positions to Patriotic Alliance. Inkatha Freedom Party already has that position. So I think this is where the debate is actually going to be. But it was quite unfortunate, man, to see how everything actually panned out in Gauteng. Because if you have the ANC and the DA with the most votes, they should actually have the luxury of picking what they actually want. And the 3 MECs can come from other political parties. Those 3 political parties, they don't have much, because if they don't want to take those MECs, ANC and the DA, they can share those MECs, because those 2 political parties themselves, they have 50 seats. They don't need other political parties. They are just involving other political parties because this is a hoo-ha of the Government of National Unity, the provincial the provincial of national unity thing. This is just a hoo-ha. But in all honesty, the ANC and the DA in Gauteng, they don't need other political parties. They don't. So I guess we will see if the DA will go back to the negotiating room, but I don't think that the DA is going to go back to the negotiating room. I don't think so. The tone that came from Helen Zille, the interviews that were done by Soli Mahlatsi, not Soli Mahlatsi, who is this guy from Tshwane? Who is this guy from Tshwane? Yeah, that guy. I don't think the DA will go back, because the ANC has already given those portfolios to other political parties. So what if the DA wants 2 of those political parties, 2 of those MECs that the ANC has already given to other political parties? This is where the problem is going to start. So I don't know what the DA is going to do. But as someone who was actually vouching for the government of national unity, man, like it's quite unfortunate that this is how everything turned out in Gauteng. It's quite unfortunate that this is how everything actually turned out in Gauteng. It's unfortunate that these two political parties, they spent the last couple of days in media talking about each other instead of just resolving everything and making sure that we govern Gauteng. If they didn't want to deal with the other stress of other political parties, they could have just said that, man, let's lock ourselves in a room and let's share these MECs and govern Gauteng. We don't need these people, man. If we need anything to pass, we're going to pass it, whether these people like it or not. But right now, Lesufi is quite compromised. Lesufi is quite compromised because he's going to need to rely on political parties like the EFF and Umkhonto. He's going to need to rely on those political parties to actually pass anything. So what if Julius Malema wakes up not feeling good? What if there is something that actually Julius Malema and Panyaza Lesufi do not agree about? Where will Panyaza Lesufi and his cabinet be? Where will Julius Malema and his cabinet be? It's very unfortunate, man. So I don't know, man. I think right now we will see if the DA will go back to the negotiating room. We will see if the DA will go back to the negotiating room, or the DA said that, man, it's fine. Let them have Gauteng, man. Let them fight over Gauteng, because if things stand like this, man, there's going to be fights in Gauteng. There's going to be motions of no confidence, man. There's going to be a mess in Gauteng. This is what the people of Gauteng are actually going to get. They are going to experience mess. They are going to experience mess. And they actually had a chance of maybe fixing their province instead of now being where they are. They had a chance. I don't know, guys, man. What do you think the DA is going to do? Or what do you want the DA to do? Do you think the DA should go back to the negotiating room? I don't know. Please tell me what you think in the comment section. Don't forget to hit that like button, and the most important part is subscribe. My name is Thomas Maba, so I will see you next time. Bye-bye.